Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on weird and true mysterious stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Case file number 1537, written by albisicornel. The train trip that warped my mind. Well, one thing comes to mind that still creeps me out. My parents divorced when I was 4, so I lived with my mom and went to visit my dad on school vacations. Since he moved to a different city, we usually took the train. Anyway, it was Friday, and the next day I was supposed to go to my father's, so I went to sleep earlier. And I had the strangest dream ever. In the dream, it was Saturday, and I had just met my dad in the train station, and we went to board the wagon. The wagon was crowded as hell, but my dad managed to get me into a full compartment. There was a mother with her kid, 3 old ladies, a theology student, and a priest came in right when I got in. I dreamed all the conversation between them, some heated argument since there were 2 different religions. I woke up the next day, didn't remember anything, and as soon as I got in the train station I saw my dad. I remembered what I dreamed and started telling him the story. I'll never forget his face when he came to see if I was alright in the compartment and saw everyone exactly as I described them. I just stood there mesmerized, reciting every phrase they were going to say before they did it. I was stunned and didn't know what the hell I should do. Case file 1537. The train trip that warped my mind. So these kinds of future knowledge events where you dream it or you just envision it, maybe you're not asleep, but it doesn't really matter. The point is you see the future of the universe you occupy, which is incredible because there's so many possible futures. If multiverse theory and quantum reality is all correct, which I think it is, then there's almost an infinite number of possible futures. So how does your mind know to select the correct one? This brings us back to replay theory. We are not currently actively participants. We are just living what we already chose. We were players at one point and now we're just watching the replay of the choices we made. That's a possible way to explain how our minds sometimes know exactly what future is coming. Because to a certain extent, and how far into the future, I don't know, we've already played the game. It's almost like infinite potential derivatives, like AI image generation, where it can use all the knowledge it's already accrued and spit out something that is somewhat new, but based on things it already was fed. And that is sort of reality. We're all building from a base layer of fairly simple blocks. But if you abstract enough layers up, you can get almost infinite variation, although some may be incoherent. Case file number 1538, written by Throwaway 73737737. The ER illusion, when reality plays tricks on my family. I had to be put on a Holter monitor, monitors heart rhythm, for a period of time, and I went to the hospital to return it. So I walk in and walk towards the X-ray or lab area. To get there, you have to walk by the emergency room. Our emergency has a little window for admissions, and you can see the beds in the ER. I walk by and casually look in the window. I see my brother in a gown laying in a bed. I had to do a double take. He noticed me and sits up. He didn't say anything, just gestured towards me and mouthed, "What's up? What are you doing here?" I mouthed back, "What are you doing here?" I looked around for my mom. My brother still lives at home, so of course my mom would be there. I didn't see her. I showed my Holter monitor and mouthed, "I have to go return this." I went, returned the monitor, and then I texted my mom saying, "What's going on with my brother? Why is he in an emergency room bed?" She texted me back saying he's at home and he's perfectly fine. "Where did you get this information?" "I see him. I'm looking at him and he's looking at me." Mom shouted, "What?" She called me and said she'd check on my brother, and sure enough, he was at home. I know what it's like to see someone in public and think, that looks like my mom. Oh, but it's not. But I could have sworn this was my brother. Looked just like him right down to the mannerisms, the hair and the hat. I can't explain it. It was just bizarre. Case file 1538. The ER illusion, when reality plays tricks on my mind. Yeah, this is multiverse sight. There's no other explanation. It truly was your brother from a different reality. There's no other reason he would see you and then try to communicate with you through glass as if he knew you. Because he did. It's a simple, elegant glitch. Easily explained, but still incredible. Bonus file, written by JD Blitz 9, Whispers of the Staircase. Years and years ago, when I was still a teenager living in a small home with my parents and younger brother, at around 2009-2010, it was an early morning. Having woken up about an hour earlier, my mother was telling me about how I was to take my younger brother to school later that day, as she couldn't make it. Dad had already gone to work. Standing in the living room on the creaky floor, I see my brother descend the stairs to my left. It's one of those staircases where you can see the full flight, with small wooden pillars lining the length of it. The gaps between those providing a clear view of those who go up or down them. So my brother descends the stairs, dull blue pajama bottoms that are slightly too big, pajama tops of the same matching color. I see his tuft of dark brown hair, and he excitedly skips his way down the stairs. I hear the loud creaks of each step going down the flight. I could swear I heard slight intakes of air and hushed giggling. Now my brother, back then, was an excitable sort. He would sprint from place to place, bouncing into things and people in his wake. Still true to an extent now. So he comes bouncing down the stairs and reaches the living room floor. The floorboards creak, and now he's out of my sight. My eyes still mostly engaged in speaking with Mom. He rushes from my left, around behind me. I feel the slight displacement of wind as he rushes past, quickly moving so as to not have him bump into me. I will step forward to do this. Sorry, I look to my right, expecting him to be there. Nothing, not a soul. He was still upstairs, sleeping heavily. I turned to my mother, who had since turned away and walked into the kitchen. She saw my confusion. I spoke to her about it. She looked frightened. She has always been easy to fright. We don't speak of it often, but from time to time it comes up on the topic of spirits and stuff. I'm not a believer generally, but nothing has felt quite like that. My mind plays games with me, making me hear and see things that were not there. Or maybe they were, because I could swear I saw him. I could swear I heard him. Nowadays I say it was out of the corner of my eye, but it was much more of a glance than that I simply haven't had the heart to admit out loud. I try to explain it away and often do without telling the full story, but with all the details, I cannot. But I wasn't tired. I had been up for a while and had a decent night's sleep before. I wasn't ill. I highly doubt the monoxide detector was out. And I have never seen anything like this before or after. It just bugs me. I can't reason with it. It's not the biggest occurrence in the world, far from it, but I am lost. Case notes of the bonus file. Whispers of the staircase. So the air moved around you, creating a form of wind. Does spirit projection actually materialize energy, the spirit, into a physical form enough to actually move and interact with the atmosphere? I guess it does, if this was spiritual projection, which what else could it be? Multiverse sight, maybe? But it's more than just sight, because you felt the air on you as he moved behind you. So I do think it's spirit projection. Now time for the poem of the day. In the quiet corners of forgotten cafes, where time waltzed with shadows, our paths converged, like two lost stars, drawn by cosmic strings, unseen, yet felt. You, with eyes like midnight constellations, and I, a wanderer, seeking solace. Our gazes collided, a celestial collision, a secret pact, forged in clandestine glances. The air hummed with anticipation, as if the universe itself held its breath. And in that suspended moment, we became more than mere mortals. How did we meet? Ah, that's the enigma. A riddle whispered by ancient winds. Perhaps it was a scent of jasmine tea, or the echo of a half-forgotten melody. Did you drop your book and I my pen? Or did we both react for the same sugar cube? Fingers brushing like delicate moth wings, leaving behind traces of stardust. Our memories entwined like ivy vines, yet the details remained veiled, a tantalizing mist. Did we collide in a bookstore's narrow aisle, or share a bench beneath a rain-kissed tree? I choose to believe it was orchestrated, a symphony composed by unseen hands. Notes written in the margins of destiny, leading us towards this mysterious rendezvous. And so, my love, let us revel in the mystery, for it is the gaps between stars that ignite wonder, and in our shared silence, we find peace. Two souls entangled, dancing on the edge of infinity. This could be titled Cupid's Arrow. How we meet someone that we're eventually going to fall in love with is so mysterious and so coincidental in many ways. Maybe it is all orchestrated and planned, or maybe it is just a quantum foam of reality. You never know what's going to happen, and that is why it's great. Cupid's Arrow. Out.